So when you observe here, okay, we can see here a few toxic substances often present in industrial wastewaters can undergo biological magnification, which we also call it as a biomagnification in the aquatic food chain. Especially in aquatic food chain, we'll find this problem mostly. So biomagnification refers to increase in concentration of a toxicant at a successive trophic levels. That means from lower trophic level to higher trophic level. When we move from lower trophic level to higher trophic level, okay, these chemical substances are getting accumulation. And this happens because a toxic substance accumulates. So when you observe here, why these chemicals are getting accumulated in the organisms means, okay, this accumulation increasing from lower trophic level to higher trophic level means because these chemical substances are not metabolized, are also not excreted because they are poor in absorption by the kidney. If the kidney, okay, as the kidneys are poor in absorption, they cannot be sent outside. So they get accumulated within the body of that organism, and at the same time, it is not metabolized, so it is not used. So what happens, whatever this chemical is entering into the body, that is gradually getting accumulated. Okay, so that is so as the as this toxic substance is not metabolized or excreted, and it thus passed on to the next higher trophic level. So whatever it is accumulated in that body, when that is eaten by another organism, that one will be transferred to the next trophic level. So this phenomenon is well known for mercury and DDT. Okay, due to the accumulation of mercury, okay, it leads to a disease called as a Minamata disease. Okay, it leads to certain nervous disorders. Okay, mental retardation, okay, nervous disorders. These are the some of the complications which are occurred due to the accumulation of mercury, especially in the humans. And a DDT. There is another example is a DDT. This DDT, that is dichloro diphenyl trichloroethane, which is used as an insecticide. Generally, this DDT is sprayed in the canals, ponds, or lakes, okay, to prevent the breeding of mosquitoes. Okay, it will kill the larvae. Okay, and destroying the breeding places. So when this DDT is sprayed on the canals, sprayed in the canals or ponds or lakes, okay, this DDT is absorbed by the phytoplanktons. From the phytoplanktons, it is transferred to the zooplanktons, and from the zooplanktons, it is transferred to small fishes, and from small fishes, it is transferred to the large fishes, and from the large fishes, finally, it is transferred to the aquatic birds, which are feeding on these fishes, either small or big fishes. So this DDT is finally getting accumulated in the birds through biomagnification. Okay, and what is the problem that is arising due to the accumulation of DDT in the birds means, okay, this DDT is this DDT prevents the absorption of calcium in the intestine. Okay, it obstructs the absorption of calcium in the intestine from the food we eat. As a result, the calcium levels in the body of that bird will be reduced. And we know very well the shell of the bird is made up of calcium carbonate. So due to the lack of calcium, okay, the shell of the egg is formed with very thin and soft. So it is very difficult to hatch birds. Okay, such eggs. Okay, it is very difficult to hatch such eggs, because whenever the bird sits on that eggs as they have got weak shells, they are broken down and the eggs cannot be hatched. And the young ones, there is a reduction in the young one production. And finally, the new generation is not produced. And slowly the population reduces and finally leads to the extinction of that species. Okay, that is what we, okay, here it is given example with reference to DDT. Okay, in the figure we can see biomagnification of DDT in an aquatic food chain. In this manner, the concentration of DDT is increased at successive trophic levels. Say if it starts at 0.003 parts per billion in water, it can ultimately reach to 25 parts per million in fish-eating birds through biomagnification. And a high concentration of DDT disturb calcium metabolism in birds. Okay, high concentration of DDT disturb calcium metabolism in birds, which causes a thinning of eggshell and their premature breaking, eventually causing the decline in bird population, which leads to extinction of that species. Because the young ones are not produced, no. Slowly the population reduces and finally it leads to extinction. It is occurring because of the biomagnification of DDT in the aquatic birds. And next one is eutrophication. Okay, all of you understood? Anybody is having any doubt in biomagnification? Anybody is having
No
any
doubt, sir.
Yes, yes.
No, sir.
Okay, okay. Then we'll go. Okay, then we'll go with the eutrophication. Okay, eutrophication. That is, it is the natural aging of a lake by a nutrient enrichment of its water. Okay, when you observe here, generally we'll find ponds and lakes. Okay, gradually what happens means these ponds and lakes gradually develop into a land. Already we heard very clearly while we are studying about hydraulic succession. In hydraulic succession, that is, for example, if you take a pond or a lake, first of all, we'll find a certain submerged aquatic plants, later free floating aquatic plants, and later reed swamps, and next emergent plant, okay, reed swamps, and finally it is converted into a forest ecosystem. So, okay, like this gradually the pond is converted into a terrestrial ecosystem. Okay, but this process only we are calling it as a eutrophication. Okay, usually this takes place. Okay, to happen this one, it will take some hundreds to 1,000 years. Okay, and mainly depends upon the how much nutrients are added to the lake. Why? Because whenever the rain falls, what happens? The rainwater will drain into the nearby pond or lake. And what this rainwater will bring means, this rainwater will bring all the nutrients that are present in the land, are present in the soil, which are dissolved, and they are finally transferred to this pond or lake. So the nutrients are regularly adding due to the draining of water into the nearby water bodies. And this helps in the growth of a large number of aquatic plants. And gradually, what happens? That lake gradually the depth of the pond or lake is gradually decreasing, and finally it becomes a terrestrial ecosystem. And this is what we call it as the aging of lake or pond. But it takes some hundreds to thousands of years. It will not take place within 1 day or 2 days. And this phenomena we are calling it as eutrophication. Eutrophication is a natural aging of a lake by nutrient enrichment of its water. In a young lake, the water is cold and clear, supporting little life. Okay, how this eutrophication occurs, we can see here. Okay, if we take, okay, for example, a person has dig a lake or a pond. The young lake, when you add, okay, the water will drain into that lake. Okay, initially the water will be very cool because there are no any organisms in that. So the water is very cold and do not support the life of organisms. So only a few organisms which can thrive at low temperatures only can grow. So that young lake, which is having a little bit low temperatures, that is cold environment, will support only a little life. With the time, okay, as the time progress, okay, streams draining into the lake introduce nutrients such as nitrogen and phosphorus, which encourage the growth of aquatic organisms. So that means as the days pass on, happens from the near, okay, through small canals, the water, a new water is added. And what this water is doing means, it is bringing a lot of nutrients. It is bringing a lot of nutrients. And adding to the water that is present in the lake. What are these nutrients means? Like nitrates and phosphates, which are very important for the growth of, or which will favor the growth of different aquatic organisms. So which encourages the growth of aquatic organisms due to the addition of these nitrates and phosphates. Okay, they will encourage the growth of aquatic organism. As the lake's fertility increases, plant and animal life burgeons, and organic remains begin to be deposited on the lake bottom. So as the nutrients are adding, it is supporting the life, and more life is increasing. At the same time, some organisms, okay, it may be the plant or animal, they will also undergo death. They are also having certain lifespan now. Okay, these organisms will undergo death, and this organic matter is added to the bottom of the lake. So gradually what happens? The depth of the lake is gradually decreasing. Over the centuries, As silt and organic debris pile up, the lake grows shallower and warmer. Okay, why? Because as the shallow, that means as the water is as the water depth of the water is decreasing, so the light can penetrate up to the. So as a result, what happens? The water get heated up because the light is penetrating up to the bottom now. Before, the depth of the lake is very high. There is, okay, it is deeper. The light cannot penetrate up to the bottom. It can penetrate only up to certain level. So here what happens? The water is not that much heated up, but due to the addition of debris and organic matter in the lake, the depth of the lake is decreased. So now the light can penetrate up to the bottom, making the water get heated up more. As a result, the water is warmed, and this warm temperature of the water is favoring the growth of many organisms, because most of the organisms grow at a little bit high temperature. At low temperatures, usually they do not grow. So warmer with warm water organisms supporting those that thrive in a cold environment. So that means here what happens? It suppresses the growth of cold organisms which can grow in cold environment, and it supports the organisms which can grow in a warm environment. As a result of the life is gradually increasing. So marsh plants take root in the shallows and begin to fill in the original lake basin. So as the water becomes shallow, okay, a large number of rooted plants will grow. And these plants gradually move to the shore or to the margins of the lake. Eventually, the lake gives way to large masses of floating plants, finally converting into land. So that means gradually the lake is converted into land because of the more and more life is getting added. And depending upon climate, size of the lake, and other factors, the natural aging of the lake may span thousands of years. Generally, this aging of a lake, okay, usually it will take some thousands of years for getting it converting the aquatic ecosystem into a terrestrial ecosystem. That is the aging. For aging of a lake, it will take around some thousands of years. But the problem is that but what we are doing, the farmers are using indiscriminately the fertilizers, and from the industries, they are adding a lot of waste materials into the nearby water bodies. Altogether, a large more and more nutrients are getting added, and these nutrients are enhancing the growth of life, and decreasing the age of life, age of lake. That means instead of 1,000 years, within few years, instead of taking thousands of years for aging of the lake, within few years, the lake is converted into a land or terrestrial ecosystem, because of the more and more nutrients in the form of pollutants are adding to the water bodies. However, here you can see, and this phenomenon we are calling it as accelerated eutrophication. If the aging of the lake is taking place normally under natural conditions, usually it will take thousands of years. That is called a normal eutrophication. eutrophication. But because of the human activities, okay, that is because of the release of different chemical substances into the water bodies directly, or indiscriminate usage of fertilizers, okay, whatever it is, finally a large number of nutrient rich water is added to the lake, and these nutrients favoring the growth of the life forms in the aquatic ecosystem. Thereby, instead of taking thousands of years, within few years, the aging of the lake will be done, and the lake is converted into, our water ecosystem will be converted into terrestrial ecosystem. That is. So, however, pollutants from man's activities like effluents from the industries and homes can radically accelerate the aging process. This phenomenon has been called cultural or accelerated eutrophication. Okay, and this increasing the age of the lake within a short period of time, the lake will be converted into a terrestrial ecosystem because of the human activities. A large nutrients are adding to the aquatic ecosystem, and this phenomenon we are calling it as cultural or accelerated eutrophication. Okay, we can see here, during the past century, lakes in many parts of the earth have been severely eutrophied by sewage and agricultural and industrial waste. Okay, due to the release of sewage, agricultural and industrial waste, a large number of lakes have been eutrophied within few years. Okay, the prime contaminants are nitrates and phosphates, which act as plant nutrients. Okay, what is the main reason for the accelerated eutrophication means? What are the main nutrients which are responsible for this accelerated eutrophication means? Okay, nitrates and phosphates. Due to the addition of large amount of nitrates and phosphates, okay, it is resulting in a accelerated eutrophication. Okay, what this nitrates and phosphates will do means, okay, they overstimulate the growth of algae, causing unsightly, scum, and unpleasant odors, and robbing the water of dissolved oxygen vital to other aquatic life. Okay, due to the large amounts of these nitrates and phosphates in the water, which are added due to the human activities, due to agriculture purpose or industrial purpose or sewage water, whatever it is, the nitrates and phosphates are added, and which are very, very important for the growth of this algae. So this algae will grow in large quantity, forming the scum. That means a layer, okay, a compact layer. And because of this, the flow of water is affected and causes unpleasant odors because the water is stagnated. And okay, this algae, what it will do means, the dissolving of oxygen, because the water is polluted now, so the dissolving of water oxygen into the water is also reduced, but whatever the oxygen that is present, that is used by this algae itself. So the other aquatic organisms will not get a sufficient oxygen, which leading to the death of the other aquatic organism, because the lack of oxygen itself is acting as a poison, because all the oxygen is used up by this aquatic organism, aquatic plant, because they are growing enormously now, so they will use all the oxygen. Okay, so at the same time, other pollutants flowing into a lake may poison whole population of fish whose decomposing remains further deplete the water's dissolved oxygen content. So, okay, because of the improper oxygen levels, the fishes undergoes death, and the decomposition of these dead organisms will further deplete the oxygen levels. Okay, that means making the condition more worse. Yes, sir. John, sir, you can continue, sir.
Sir, recording, you can pause recording, sir.
1 minute, sir. So when you observe here, so because of the death of other aquatic organisms like fishes, okay, these death, okay, dead fish will undergo decomposition. For decomposing also, the microorganisms are using a large amount of oxygen. So further worsen the condition, and finally leading to accelerated eutrophication. In such fashion, a lake can literally choke to death. That means the lake will slowly changes to a terrestrial ecosystem. Okay, that is how the eutrophication and accelerated eutrophication are affecting the aquatic or water ecosystem, the organisms that are present in that. And next, another important, that is heated wastewaters flowing out of electricity generating units. Okay, that is a thermal wastewater. Okay, in thermal power plants, okay, for cooling the turbines, okay, what they will do means they will use certain water, okay, to be sprayed onto this turbines. Okay, if that is not case means the turbines will blow out, okay, it leads to explosion. So to prevent that one, regularly they should be cooled down. So for that, what they are doing, they are using some water. They spray some water. After spraying that water, the water is getting heated up. It will collect the heat from that and later that water, before cooling down, that hot water is directly released into the nearby water bodies. That is what we called as heated or thermal wastewaters. Okay, flowing out of electricity or generating units, that is thermal power plants, constitute another important category of pollutants. Why? Because generally when you observe the flowing water is usually having a cold environment, a little bit low temperature when compared to the environment, and usually the organisms are also adapted to that low temperatures only. It may be the fishes or okay, plants or fishes or any other aquatic organism. Generally it will be adapted to that low temperatures. But here what is happening, they are hot water directly to that streams or canals or rivers. As a result, what is happening, the temperature of the water is increasing. That means it is making the water warm. It is making the water warm, okay, which is affecting the growth, development, and also the breeding, because usually the fishes will breed in low temperatures. But when you are adding this hot water directly into the water bodies, it is increasing the temperature and affecting the breeding of that fishes also. That's what we can see here. So thermal water, wastewater eliminates or reduces the number of organisms sensitive to high temperature. That means those organisms which are sensitive to temperature, they can't grow and may chance the growth of plants and fish in extremely cold areas, but only after causing damage to the indigenous flora and fauna. Okay, because of the increase in the temperature, it can favor the growth of other organisms, but it will affect the growth of local, okay, that is that organisms which are already growing in that environment. That is indigenous. Indigenous means local. That is already existing organism. Flora, that is plants. Fauna means animals. Already growing plants and animals are affected, but it may favor the other organisms. Okay, they will make favor the growth of other plants and animals, but already existing organisms are affected. That's why we should not drain the hot water directly into the nearby water bodies. Before releasing into the water bodies, they should be cooled, and later they have to be released into the nearby water bodies, so that we can reduce the impact of increasing the temperature of the water bodies. This is what we called as thermal pollution. Okay, that is.